Well,
Yeah.
the way you sure was.
All right, we're gonna get started. Welcome everybody to our meeting here tonight. We'll start with pledge allegiance, followed by prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to come here together in this meeting. We're grateful for this past school year and that we were able to come to a conclusion and that all things were well this year. As we prepare for next year, we ask you to please bless the administrators and teachers and all the students throughout the summer, that they'll be safe and that they'll return with us back in the fall. We ask you to please bless Jeff and his wife as he's missing here tonight, that they may heal well, and that everything will be good there. We're grateful for the opportunities we have to serve the community, and we ask you that we go throughout this meeting that we may speak and do those things which are pleasing unto thee. Bless all those that need thy blessing at this time. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, future board meetings. Next one's June 10th, July 8th, and July 22nd, all here at 6 o'clock. There are a few revisions to the agenda, I think, seen, but most of them HR. Start with public recognition. A bunch of donations, so we'll get them all approved at the same time. Recommendation to approve $320 donation from Bowman Financial LLC for Southwood Elementary for second grade YMCA swim class. Recommendation to approve $500 donation from American Legion Auxiliary Post 95, Gas City for Southwood Elementary for sensory and other class donations items. Recommendation to approve $2,274 donation from the Cole Foundation for Northfield Boys Golf. Recommendation to approve a $500 donation from Eagles Lodge 549 for Southwood Athletics. Recommendation to approve 25 donation from Derek and Jenny Wilson for Northfield Girls Golf. Recommendation to approve a $50 donation from Swine Rock Farm LLC for Northfield Girls Golf. And a recommendation to approve a $1,200 donation from CIE LLC for Northfield Athletics. So I get a recommendation in a second for that.
So moved.
Second. Yes, motion is second. All those in favor of these generous donations, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now we'll move on to school recognition.
And we have several tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and start. We have some gentlemen here that would like to recognize one of their staff members. So Mr. Hayden and Mr. Miller, I'm going to go ahead and start with you two. Recognize your people that are here, or person who's here. Yes.
Well, Mr. Kiefer and board and participants here, we would like to take this time to recognize Mrs. Weaver, recognize her and share our appreciation for her and just celebrate her time here. How many years have you been with MSD?
29 official years. I did some subbing before that. I worked for Levon Crush Program for a couple of years, but 29 years of this job.
29 years in our school district, which is amazing.
And she knows the Chippewa fight song.
Yeah.
So 29 years ago, imagine that, 29 years ago, I imagine you were responsible for computers in a computer lab. 30 computers in the computer lab. Big screens, big keyboards, big computers. Technology doesn't stand still. It evolves. And so did Mrs. Weaver. She chased that, and she evolved with it. Point now where we work on a slab of glass. That's what we work on nowadays, which is just amazing to me. 30 computers, 29 years ago, 650 staff and students she supports now, 650 devices now. I think that's worth celebrating, and we appreciate that so much. Throughout that time, she has done that support with grace, with positivity, true positivity. And I think, at least from my standpoint, what always got to me is you knew exactly, you had a clear vision of what that should look like for our educators and for our students. It really showed through. And so I think that's also worth celebrating. And throughout that process, she did it so that the staff and the students always maintained dignity. She worked that with dignity. So thank you for all the work you've done on behalf of both of us and all the staff and students you worked with over these 29 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your soon-to-be retirement and everything. Thank you. Thank you.
And I would echo Brian's statement too. Just, I think the thing that I always appreciated the most about you is just how well you take care of the kids. The kids come in and you know every kid in the building, you know their name, and then you go out of your way to make sure they're taken care of. So I remember during COVID and things, you were coming in on weekends, meeting people at their houses, trading iPads, just going the extra mile. And so from the bottom of my heart too, I thank you so much for the many years of service to this district and just to the kids in the building. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I should get a picture because Laura will fire me. I'm supposed to zoom with my feet, right?
Zoom with your feet. Right, we do that.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Been a great run.
So when we do this, you're welcome to stay, but if you would like to leave, you can go ahead and leave this time too, so it's just up to you.
Already fixed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Beavers.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I have several other items. Since we finished up the school year, there are a lot of different celebrations and also recognitions for students and staff, so I'm gonna go ahead and read those. Haven't done that for the last meeting because we were just finishing up, so we have quite a few here. So first of all, Mr. Snyder says, thank you to NHS Spanish teacher, Mrs. Berry, for her hard work and dedication to our students. She gave 13 of our Spanish 3 students my lingual proficiency test just to see how they would do in order to gauge their teaching and their learning. 4 out of the 13 Spanish 3 students scored at an intermediate 5 or advanced level on a reading and listening test typically taken by Spanish 4 or 5 students as part of the multilingual proficiency certificate. This is impressive given the test difficulty and their current level of study, and it suggests strong potential for future language work for these students. So she shared that with us, and we thought it would be great to be able to share with you too on that. Northwood also said on Wednesday, April 30th, that Honeywell Center held the awards reception for the Next Generation Art exhibition in the lobby of the Clark Gallery. Northfield Junior Senior High School students received 4 awards, thanks to Mr. Zwiebel and the Northfield art students for representing Northfield Art Department and Art Program. Awards included Ellie Gall, I'm sorry, she was Best of Show. And the other ones also have winners of different artists, Emma Bone, Sage Martin, also Jackson Mercer. So congratulations to them. And one more for Northfield. Northfield would like to recognize 2 students, 7th graders Dylan Miller and James Sloan, for having perfect attendance this school year. And when we talk about perfect attendance, they were not only perfect just in the school year, but no tardies and nothing. So it's 100%. Attendance has always been a point of emphasis and a crucial for our young people building employability skills. And then now for Mrs. Moore at Metro North. Metro North hosted their 7th annual Kids Fit 500 final lap on May 15th. Our Metro North students and staff have walked 1 mile each week in preparation for this culminating event. Our students will track their progress leading up to the One America 500 Festival mini marathon with the goal of walking or running 13.1 miles over the course of the program, the equivalent of a half marathon. Our final lap includes the Indy Mini Mobile Run team, which creates an amazing environment mirroring what kids would experience at an actual marathon 5K event. This year, 13 members of our Northfield High School varsity track team joined us in cheering on and supporting our young runners. We also partnered with Todd and Krissa Schindler and My Team Triumph to ensure every student was able to participate with their peers and at a record pace. 5 members of our Northfield track team served as angels and ran with the students throughout the final lap course. It is interesting to note that the freshmen and sophomores that were helping were in 2nd and 3rd grade the year Metro North started participating in this annual event. We also had about 30 parent volunteers assisting with the event. The weather was gorgeous and our students, staff, and families had an amazing time. It wasn't mentioned in here, but Southwood Elementary for the first time this year also did that. They were kind of lucky because they did it in the morning where it was nice and cool. And Metro North, when we talked about it, Mrs. Moore did not mention that, but it was very hot and humid that day. Different than what it was the last few days here. Also at Metro North on May 3rd, we had our Metro North Mom and Son Night of Fun. Our boys and their dates enjoyed a night of bounce houses, dodgeball, tug of war, board games, obstacle courses, roasting hot dogs, s'mores, water balloons, a fire truck, and much, much more. It was chilly and we were soaked, but we made amazing memories with our moms. And as you know, they also do the daddy-daughter dance too. We mentioned that earlier in the year. And one other one for Metro North, on Tuesday, May 13th, our Metro North artists were recognized at the Eagles Theater for their artwork submitted in the annual Symphony and Color Art Contest sponsored by the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. Congratulations to our Metro North state finalists, again, Wallace, Emerson Allen, and Micah Rickner. Congratulations also to our school finalists, Cohen Coldren, Colby Gray, and Mishka Jans. And continuing on, we have a lot of these tonight. So at Southwood, 75% of Southwood High School biology students achieve proficiency or proficient or highly proficient on iLearn biology assessment. This is a result of Mrs. Rena Markstaller's fantastic ability to prepare biology students for their state assessment. Mr. Drake, I might say something to you. 75%, sometimes we look at different scores and we look at wanting 90%, 95, or 100%. The 75 in the iLearn, excellent.
Yes, it's very impressive because when those of us who are old enough to remember the I-STEP, that used to be your goal was 90-95% because that was kind of a basic skills test. When you hear iLearn, you need to think college ready. And so what they've done is they've scaled that back all the way down to 3rd grade even. And so 3rd graders can tell you if they're on track to do that. And so obviously to get 90% is a little bit high for some districts. And so the state average of most of those is in the 30s, 40s, high 50s sometimes. And so I think the biology ones you're talking about are, the state average was like lower 50 or around 50. And so to be in the 75% range is very impressive.
You're welcome. Putting you on the spot.
I was going to say that. It's not on my notes.
All right. Also then from Wabash, White's, it says WHS. So White's High School, Larry Vaughn, 44 years of distinguished service to the students at White's. That's a long, long time, 44 years, so the whole time there. Also, just want to mention, and Mr. Drake might mention this earlier, but with iRead, all of the information is not to us yet because we still have some students that will be testing this summer. But as of now, did a little research, Mr. Drake did. All students who started with us in pre-K passed iRead. So want to shout out to not only just our pre-K, but also our teachers and 3rd grade too, and all our students who did a great job there. And continuing on, Mrs. Boone, she would like to publicly recognize and thank members of the Southwood Varsity and Junior High track teams for their willingness to serve at the Unified Track Meet for the elementary school students. This was something done at Southwood Elementary recently, first time, and it was a very nice day too. These high school athletes did a phenomenal job assisting the elementary students by leading teams, running events, supervising, and interacting with the students. Their actions and interactions exemplified what it means to be a positive role models to the 190 elementary participants. And I won't read all of the names, but there were a lot of them, obviously, that helped with that. And at one time I counted, but there were probably 20, 25 of the track team members that helped with that. So we want to thank them for that. Also, Mrs. Boone wants to congratulate the following Knights for qualifying for the regional championship in track and field. Jayla Korn, Haley Collins, Lola Weiner, Paige Nelson, especially Croft, Alexis Lopez, Ella Chambers, Owen Inyart, Blake Inyart, Luke Andrews, and Cooper Drake. A special shout out to Lady Knights 4x800 relay team for bringing home a sectional championship for the second year in a row. And so tonight, right now, they are running those that qualified at Carroll High School. And then on Thursday, the boys will be running at Carroll High School also. From Sharp Creek Elementary, we had a great last few weeks of school with lots of student opportunities, experiences, and activities. The sixth graders spent 3 days and 2 nights at Camp Mullenhour near Silver Lake. Our fifth graders participated in their annual red carpet event. The third grade and fourth graders each had a local field trip day, and then author Troy Cummings visited Sharp Creek for a full day spent with students. And our North spots were featured on the local Dallas TV news broadcast, and junior achievement volunteers in the building having lessons with sixth grade classrooms over the course of 2 days. And then Sharp Creek, also congratulations to Sharp Creek students who were recently honored at the Symphony in Color reception. Ella Clark, Paisley Rife, Becca Culver, Sadie King, Ava Mills, Natalie Black, and Rice Dawes. And Sharp Creek fifth graders, Macy Whiteman and Jaden Lincoln, both finished the school year with perfect attendance. Great job. And all Sharp Creek students and staff participated in field day, fun day last Thursday, thanks to the planning and organizing of Mrs. France. And with the help of all the staff members, the cool, damp weather didn't keep our students from having a great day. If you remember last Thursday, it's kind of unbelievable for the last day of school. And finally, thanks to the Sharp Creek math teachers who organized and implemented the multiplication challenge for our students this school year. As a result, our students were able to participate in our first annual ice cream celebration afternoon last week of school. It was lots of fun, and we all want to thank those who donated, or those parents who donated items and volunteered their time to dip ice cream and help with toppings. So I know that was a lot, but it's great to recognize a lot of other people. And I guess I'll just mention too, I think I mentioned to you last night, both our Northfield and Southwood will continue on. They both won in the softball. We'll be playing Thursday evening in the semifinals. So it will be guaranteed that one of our MSD teams will be in the championship on Friday night. And then of course, Southwood and Northfield play each other in the first round of sectional baseball. We talked about track, baseball, softball. Golf will be coming up later on, so I believe that's it.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, Whitey will be next. So, all right, Neil,
Yeah.
you're up, man. And
So,
let me,
and that's, you have the.
yeah, you may do the
YouTube.
video first. I have it, and I put it up. It's gonna be
So,
great.
so Dylan gave me a tip. Dylan, our project manager, usually does this. He gave me a tip to narrate over this. Did that work last time? Is that how we should do this?
Oh yeah, he did a great
Did it
job.
work okay?
He even stood up and walked around and no.
Did the hand motions? Okay, Mike, I'll ask if you just turn the sound on so I can, so you guys can hear me.
Well, let me turn it down because the music.
The music.
I was playing this earlier,
But you're
and
gonna sing all.
some
The
people
music-
felt like it was like music where it would just tone you down where you want to take a nap or
Right,
whatever.
yes,
So.
I agree.
All right, ready?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go.
So great aerial view from the north looking south. On the left, you got D and C where we got foundations going, that middle pre-engineered metal building, the gym in the center there. And then on the right is unit G, got load bearing masonry. There's the pre-engineered building. It's got the standing seam metal roof going on and the insulation coming right along, the rigid frames up. Here's unit G, first floor, load bearing and non-load bearing masonry. We've got Frucci has the joists up. Here's a shot looking south to in H to the south entry vestibule, and you can duck in here to the principal, secretary, and reception area. That's getting ready for slab prep. There's the courtyard that just got
Neptune's air barrier. And then sensory and rise rooms have everything prepped and ready to pour. And then as you look down H here on the right-hand side, I believe is the art area, and then that tech on the very far side there, that's all prepped and ready for concrete slabs. So a lot of the concrete slabs are in H, about halfway in H. Last week we did some pours, and we'll be getting ready to do more pours this week and next week. But from a schedule standpoint, weather and resources with masonry has us a little bit behind on the load bearing on unit G, but everything else is spot on. We've kind of resequenced some things and got Frucci pulled in a couple different areas with steel erection to where we're gonna be able to catch up, and just really looking forward to continuing on, getting the building envelope wrapped up, getting the veneer on, and then targeting like a 9/15 September-ish weather tight, so that we can start getting finishes in and start see some things on the inside come together. So from a schedule standpoint, looking good, really proud of the team, happy with the partnership and team that we've got with you guys and Barton Co. And I think the schedule's pretty good right now. So I'll open it up. You want me to, I'll give a couple points about where we're headed.
Yeah, I have one
Okay.
question here. So I don't know when this video was done. You have to,
It was either last week or the week prior.
probably the week, because I know last Thursday.
I think it was last week.
Okay, last Thursday, they did the large pour. We had like 12 loads of concrete.
Correct.
So some of that didn't show that part of it. So it must have been the day or that
Yeah.
before Thursday.
I think that rise in sensory, so right off the courtyard, I think that got poured last week.
Mhm.
And now this week, we're still prepping and we're gonna pour the rest of that unit H, which is all under roof. So, yeah, it's about a week old.
You know, do you want to say anything else?
Yeah, moving forward, just some of the milestones, like, you know, you guys are getting ready to move out of Metro at the end of this week. And so we'll be doing, Steve's gonna be taking care of the abatement, and we'll be getting mobilized in there for demolition and getting the building pad ready and getting foundations going at Metro. And really the major pieces going on right now is load bearing masonry still going, joists, to get the decking on, and really just trying to continue on, press forward with masonry to get dried in. So, any questions, be happy to answer. Does Dylan go through financials? Not really.
No.
Financially, is there any questions financially? I think we're, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The inclement weather margin account and idea was.
From the lost days, from a schedule standpoint.
Yeah, bad weather.
Bad weather has attributed to most of the scheduled delinquency on load bearing masonry, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of a drag on unit G. If I had to put a day count to it, maybe 8 days from lost weather on the masonry side. I'd have to check the log though, Kevin, it's.
Well, I didn't know financially too, you know, we had that account where, you know, inclement weather required more expenditure.
Sure.
I know you don't have that in the top of your head.
I do know that in our front end of our manual and how we plan the job, we accounted for like 11 to 14 lost days. And then we've got masonry we've taken upon, I mean, Wygand is the self-perform package on masonry. So they've been doing a lot of their setups, working overtime, working Saturday on our dime. You guys have not, and I don't believe you will experience that until we get into an advantageous situation where we could use that as a benefit to work some overtime to get you ahead. But no, if we're behind from lost days, they're worked into the schedule and we're making that up on our end. Financially though, overall, I think we're roughly 20% contingency allowances spent, which is a good spot. We're out of a lot of the risky areas. We're out of the ground and starting to cruise on most of it. I know we still have Metro, and I know we've got the demo at Sharp Creek and all that, but from a risk mitigation standpoint, we're looking pretty good with where we're sitting. So Barton Co's pushed through some changes, and those are starting to slow down because we've caught a lot of that. So it's really, I think we're in a good spot. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
That's all on that.
All right, I guess we'll move on.
Thank you.
agenda items only. All right, we'll move on to agenda items. We need a motion and a second to approve our regular meeting minutes for April 22nd.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Move on to claims and payroll 20 and 21. Anybody have any questions or have a chance to look at that?
If you look at payroll, it's pretty much the same for the most part for those two pays. We will start seeing an increase just because of spring sports ending and start paying out some of those in the next couple payrolls probably. A lot of summer schools start being a part of that as well, so you'll see a slight uptick.
When does summer school start? Next Monday.
Next Monday.
All right.
On the claim saying I cannot resist the shun. It's nearing completion.
Yes.
Like,
It is?
Yeah,
Yes,
That's word on the street.
very close.
very close.
Very, very close. Very
But
close.
we've been very close for a year and a half.
No, it's very close.
Well, I saw the draw there listed, that's over near the end on that too, we still have some held back. have
Yeah, we still have, I mean, there's
Some
probably
kind of
still
leverage.
6 figures held back. So,
So are they, I mean, are they gonna finish the summer?
Probably, let's just say by the middle of June. Okay, or let's say the end of June. You know, it's supposed to be, at one time,
it's supposed to be the end of this month.
in this month, but then they said there was a couple things.
Over under.
It's a dangerous over under. No,
It'll be awesome.
we're getting them out of here by the end of the summer.
Yeah, maybe we can tour sometime.
Nice, yeah, that'd be good. All right, let me get a motion and a second to approve claims and payroll 2021.
So second.
A motion and a second to approve claims and payroll. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, financial summary. Chris?
Yeah, it's been a while since we met, but this is the end of April cash balances, even though we're approaching the end of May. But just giving you an update on what the cash balance report is for each of our funds. Everything still continues to look positive for us in those areas. Nothing stands out at this point in time to identify or touch base on with any concerns or updates. So along with that, since we only had one board meeting this month, I also gave you our updated cash flow for the month of April. The only thing that I included in that, which we will talk about here in a little bit, is our recommendation for raises for classified and administrators are factored into this budget as far as this cash flow is concerned. The other thing I'll touch base on, and I've mentioned it before, is we highlighted those yellow points as indicators of textbook expenses or revenue. And just so you are aware, in the legislation now, that textbook amount is not coming to us separately. It's going to be part of the basic tuition support. So that last revenue in December will go away and it will just be part of the basic grant dollars that we receive per student. We should have a general idea of what that will look like. The estimate that we used that will start paying out in July is based off of an estimate of 2070 on an ADM count. And so once they get their worksheets done, then we can capture that and start reflecting that into our cash flow.
You know what that amount's gonna be yet, or
No, not what amount?
like, that's gonna be added in, that's gonna replace that textbook amount? Like, it's gonna be added on to the student.
How much per student?
Yeah.
Yes, we do know that.
You do know that.
It's like $158 per
Per
student,
student, yes.
is what we were originally getting before.
So it's
So
gonna stay
that
the
is
same.
factored in, so if they give us 300, let's say they give us $300 more per student, 158 of that
As your text.
is your
Okay,
textbook
that's all,
dollars,
okay.
so. And then the last one in operations, same thing, the only change I made in operation one is again, put in the, potential added cost of raises for classified admin, factored into that cash flow.
Well, the balances, Chris, are strong, but when you watch that cash flow through the whole period of this year, you don't see any growth in it like we're used to seeing. So it's something to be aware of. For sure. Maybe we've been spoiled a little bit.
But we did the things we needed to do to help protect ourselves from these times, so.
Well, and you do have the raises for classified and stuff, already, which I appreciate that being done.
And then lastly, the only thing I gave an update to was our budget calendar, schedule for the 2026 budget preparation. So, these are, a tentative schedule, that will allow us to meet our deadlines for when things are due, to Gateway and the DLGF and so forth, so. But obviously, like we've been in the past, that has been modified, depending on where we're at, and what needs to get done, so.
All right, any questions for Chris on that? All right, we'll move on to personnel. And there's a second vote.
Although you choose to hit.
All right, resignations. Caleb Pierre, Perret.
Well, we hired the person and they never started and they resigned, so we've never met the person, so.
So you don't know how to say it is what you're saying. Okay, Spanish teacher at Southwood High School, that was effective immediately. J.D. Ayers, English teacher at Southwood High School, effective at the end of the school year. That's it. And Chris Whitaker, a teacher at White's High School, end of the school year. Under employment, Travis Houston, Chief Financial Officer, Central Office, effective 7/1. Randy Wright, Summer Custodian, all schools. Mary Allen, Summer Custodian, all schools. August Elliott, Summer Custodian for all the schools. And Brianna Krugler, Summer Custodian for all schools. Randy Leach, Substitute Bus Driver for all schools. Amanda Watson, Summer Secretary for Southwood High School. Matt Hines, Head Varsity Girls Basketball Coach for Northville High School. Dave Hines, Assistant Girls Basketball, Northville High School. Brian Double, Assistant Girls Basketball, Northville High School. And Kevin Alsop, Assistant Girls Basketball, Northville High School. Those are all effective immediately. Lisa Sorrell, a pre-K classroom instructor, Southwood Elementary, effective at the beginning of the next school year. Jason Reed, custodian, Southwood High School, effective June 2nd. Joshua Marley, head varsity football coach at Southwood High School, effective immediately. Chris Cochran, assistant football coach at Southwood High School, effective immediately. J.C. Crum, assistant girls basketball, Northville High School, effective immediately. And Aiden Hostler, PE teacher, Southwood High School, effective at the beginning of the school year. and Corey McKay, assistant football coach, Southwood High School, effective immediately. You got one transfer, Heather Clark, transferring from science teacher to English teacher at Southwood High School, beginning of the school year, and Deanna Ramsey, education interim at WMAP. Oh, sorry, it's retirement. I went right through, so she's retiring. That's effective at the end of this school year, so. A motion second to approve HR.
So moved.
Second. A motion second to approve our HR report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
We got a couple things, I'll say something too.
I'd just like to welcome Travis
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
Amy to MSD. Travis is an individual that, we had 27 applicants, and we had a screening team that narrowed the applicant pool down. Travis was someone that stood out in that process. And then we took those to an interview team, and Travis also stood out in that process. He came highly recommended from the references that I checked. He's a person of integrity, and he knows about school finance, and that's a positive thing. And so that budget calendar, he can do what he wants with it. But we're really looking forward to Travis being part of the MSD team and family, and just really excited about him being a part of this organization. So looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right.
And I just want to mention the retirement, she did not work in our schools, but part of our team because of WMAP, and so just appreciate her dedication to us and to WMAP.
All right, well, we welcome Travis and we look forward to being here starting July. Good. Reports. Start with Matt.
I forgot my notes.
So you're saying no report?
Well, it'll be quick. Heartland had an audit and they passed it in good standing. They took about 3 weeks on that, somewhere in there. Roof is on schedule. They might even be close to being done. And the graduation, we had the certificate ceremony. Was it last Monday? It's always a good turnout. And it went well. That's all I can remember off of that. Yeah. So it's a short one.
All right. Mike, you have anything?
Yes, I do, and I'm gonna take up all the time that Matt gave you, so. And Dr. Kuhn will help us too, so. Just want to go over briefly, comes to us from School Boards Association. We're not going through every slide, but just to, because I know you want to do that, but we won't do it tonight. But it's interesting to note, we're just going to go over this slideshow, make sure you memorize it and help us and help the new people, the 3 administrators here that will be here next year to make sure they solve all these issues. But first of all, one of the reasons why it just becomes more difficult for central office and for different situations and for hiring people to help do all these things, you can see the last bullet there, adding 45 enrolled acts results in 310 new laws in the last 8 years affecting K through 12 education. So this is pretty incredible about all the things that have to happen and to learn. So I just wanted to point that out. You can see here that there is an increase to the tuition support by 2%. Part of the curriculum materials are part of that. But then if you start looking down at the 3rd check mark, you can see, I'm not sorry, not the 3rd check mark, but the 4th one, all of those programs were reduced slightly. Special education, ELL, and CTE funding, which includes Heartland Career Center. And also, part of that too is they eliminated a lot of different things too that we can see here. So I'm gonna go here pretty quickly through this. Teacher appreciation grants are gonna be a lot different next year, last year, and the previous years. Basically, if you're highly effective, you received a stipend. Next year, it's gonna be a competitive grant, and not to exceed 20% of the certified teachers in the school district. And there are 3 tiers, the 3,500, the 5,000, and 7,500. There's a lot of discussion about that. I don't know for sure what MSD will be doing next year, what other school districts are going to do. It's nice that they've given them money, but yet it is competitive. And how does that work when Mr. Hopper gets $3,500 and Mr. Bowman gets $7,500? And how does that work? So I could have done it the other way, but anyway, some things that everybody's going to have to look at.
So is that based on performance?
There's a lot of things are based on, and the DOE will give guidance later on as exactly how that's supposed to work.
Guidance
Yes,
later.
yes.
What's interesting about it though is like on the lowest stipend, $3,500, if 20% of our teachers were to get that, that exceeds the dollars that we got just in previous years, regardless, but they've already said that they lowered the appropriation for it.
From one point, yes.
So the math doesn't really add up on how all those numbers are gonna work out, so.
We were on superintendent meetings on Friday mornings, and, there's schools, some schools say they're gonna use it, some schools say they're not, just because of the fighting of the $3,500 and the $7,500. And how that works, but maybe he deserves it, and you deserve it. And
What
then
about the five?
You won't get
Who
anything.
gets the five?
You might, but
I'll
then
take the five.
Mr. Driscoll won't get anything. So, sorry, you're the last one.
Let's pull it all
Jeff
together
was
and
here, I
split it
done
up.
Jeff, man,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
about that, so.
So you could pool it and then.
We'll pull it all together and just split it four ways.
Well, yeah, well, that's an idea.
Jeff's out, he's not here tonight.
There you go, that's a good idea, you can write that in
We
there.
just gave them
That's
the
nice.
idea.
Yeah, and you can see here too, they lowered the summer school, alternative ed, they lowered all these other things, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and part of the United Fund of Wabash County. We really promoted that, but now that's gonna go away too. They had to lower the budget, so I guess it's good though that we still have an increase in our grant money for ADM. Some other things here, like I said, I want to go quickly, I made some notes here. 102. Yeah, it's 139 page, 217 section bill, removes about 30,000 words from Indiana code, which is nice. They basically changed a lot of different things there. The last one's interesting too. For many, many years, we had teachers that were designated as highly effective, improvement necessary, or ineffective. That no longer is in effect next year. Our school district may continue that, may not, but that's something you can look at later on. In 1134, executive sessions, that's something you guys could talk about too. They added some different things that you can talk about legally in executive sessions. Under education matters, I didn't make any notes there, so we can go on. Under 1515, higher education, interesting that there's a 3-year school facilities and transportation pilot programs for schools to get together to do different things like that. Right now it's a pilot. When it's a pilot, sometimes it will spill over to all school districts, but we'll see what happens later on in other legislation. Dr. Kim, Mr. Drake, either one, if you want to throw in anything on any of these. Local government finance, referendums, of course, it's going to be only during the general election year. There's a cooling off period, and MLGQ cap is 4% in 2026. And in 2028, sharing of operations fund levies by school corporations with charter schools meeting certain criteria. Right now, that would not affect us. That could in the future if something ever happened. Senate Bill 1, we talked about that. We already talked about Union Corporation that will be dissolved July 1 of 2027. Really a far overreach of that, what they did, but they did. More property tax relief here. You can see all those different things. We are a CAGIT, C-A-G-I-T county, so we will be losing funds there. I think you said 300.
Yeah, we shared that at a couple board meetings ago, and I think I even kept it on my cash flow there, just as a reminder, but in 2028, we will lose those local income tax dollars that we got from the county.
The legislators like to use the word to decrease to the increase is what really happens to us, but that's not necessarily the case for us because we really will be losing funds. Parental rights, something that we would do anyway on that. Teacher compensation. Right now the law says that starting salary is $40,000. The new law will be $45,000. Luckily, we changed that this year. This is the first year, this is the second year, the first year at 47,000, so we're good there. But also, compensation level has to be 65% of state tuition support. It was 62%.
And one interesting stat out of that is that there are only 44 school districts that have a starting salary over 45,000. And so we are one of those, but it is a small group of people that are.
So a lot of schools have to figure out how they're gonna do it, but there's no real hammer. If you don't reach that $45,000, you're just gonna be on a list and have to say why you're not 45,000 for other school districts. Yeah, this also increases release time for high school student for religious instruction to the equivalent of an elective course, which our elective courses, all of our periods are 47 minutes. That was in elementary, but not in high school, so they added that. Polling requirements, it just changes how fast that our administrators have to let parents know about that. Of course, school board matters. You may want to look at this. Of course, if you run, there's different ways, and we talked about this too, of declaring. Also, it modifies the amount for the governing body in the second check mark. School corporation may pay a member of the governing body from $2,000 under current law to an amount not to exceed 10% of the lowest starting salary of a teacher employed by a school corporation. Something you guys can talk about in June, one or two, earlier. And then 366 eliminates the requirement of superintendent to have a master's degree. So Dr. Kuhn is going to get a refund for his master's and his doctorate degree. Probably not. Yes, eliminates requirement to enter into a regular teacher contract with the superintendent. Most superintendents have the addendum, and so you don't necessarily have to have the actual teacher contract also. Human sexuality, we've already talked to the principals and administrators about that one. Absenteeism, school discipline, one thing that's interesting, not allowed to suspend or expel students solely based on chronically absent or habitual truant. It can be for other things too. And then there's some other legal aspects. So did that pretty quickly. There will be other things that will happen, and there's really a lot of things that we'll have to look at for next school year. So, any questions? Or I can put you to sleep.
I think so.
Okay,
Is that all you have?
that's all I have for now. Yeah.
Is there a quiz over the loss you just went?
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be in their email tomorrow.
That's in the email. I am going to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Kefever took us, and I'm going to give you some insider trading tidbits. We've finished up a lot of testing, and we got graduation coming up. So none of those things are official, but with some insider trading information, he kind of told you already a little about our IREAD. So stole my thunder, so I'm gonna say it anyways.
I didn't give them the percentage.
So if you started with our preschool and stayed and came to take the IREAD as a third grader, 100% of those kids passed IREAD, which is pretty cool, right? And that's certainly, it's always a goal, and it's not always going to happen that way, but we do a good job. We do a good job in our schools. And so I will tell you that, remember, third graders have 3 windows for IREAD now, and we just finished the second, and we're starting now the third. And if I was a betting man, I would bet you're going to see some phenomenal scores from MSD when it comes to IREAD. And so our principals are working real hard with the ones that haven't passed yet, but early results are very good. Very good.
There won't be any betting going on, sorry.
Ooh, over under, I'll take it. I got some.
Sorry, very good.
iLearn results also are coming in, and we have some excellent results coming from the district on math. But again, they'll finalize all those in July, which means I probably won't be able to officially report them until September, October, and so we won't have actual numbers, but we've got some good things coming our way with that. It shows this good efforts by everybody. And so the end of the school year was very busy, like Mr. Kefever said. from senior skip days to pranks to graduations to all that stuff. And so lots of good stuff, but all I can do is hint at it for now. Just know that we've got some good stuff coming in the fall. And I'll be anxious to compare those when they finally get released to our neighboring schools and of course to the state. We always try to model that. And so, yeah. Just a hint.
All right. Little tease.
Yes.
Well, appreciate it. We will move on to new business.
Yeah, we moved that around, but yours is on there, you're right.
I'm right.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, recommendation to approve Wygant Construction as the construction manager as construction CMC in Barton Cove, Velma, as architect for the South projects. I get a motion and a second for that.
And you did receive the memos, and that were both listed right here, and we just, well, I'll let you do everything else for us.
It's approving both Wygan and
Yes.
Barton Cove. Okay.
For the South project.
I'm moving for the motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve Wygant and Barton Cove, Velma as architect for the South projects. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I just want to appreciate both Wygant and Barton Cove Vilma for all they've done so far. And I have my lawn chair already for the South projects to be watching that. But we're very confident in their abilities of what they have done so far, and we'll continue that. So we're very appreciative, and I know Dr. King would say the same thing too.
Yep, and we will, we'll start having some work sessions just related to either bonding or where we're at with the projects, just so we can kind of stay on top of it, and you guys are aware of where we're at in those areas, similar to what we did for the North projects. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this continued relationship, so.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Recommendation to approve food to school purchasing cooperative, cooperative awards for 25-26.
Yeah, this is an annual thing because of our work with the Food to School Purchasing Cooperative. They've initiated out their contract awards, and so we will follow that with a similar recommendation for choosing our distributors for those purchases for next school year.
So,
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion second to approve food to school purchasing cooperative for 25-26 school year. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Recommendation to approve school lunch prices for 25-26.
Yeah, so since we were kind of talking about the contract awards there, usually we do this in July, but I thought I would do it a little bit earlier because we are going to be asking for an increase in our meal prices. This is something that we've reviewed with our admin and our food service director, and also kind of gave you a list of where other school corporations kind of sit with those costs. Some things to understand is that we have not had an increase in our meal prices since January of 2017. That was the last time we had recommended a increase in pricing, and so it's been a while now since we've done that. Food costs have gone up on average more than $25,000 per month since 2020, and so we're seeing a significantly increase in food costs to the tune of about $250,000 to $275,000 a year. And over the last 3 years, we have lost our balance in the tune of about $45,000 a year. Now, when COVID was happening and we were able to give out the free meals, we were receiving a lot of dollars during that time. Obviously, we know that funding has stopped, and so now we're living on those reserves to some degree. We still have a pretty nice food service balance, but we are losing some of those dollars. Part of that is because of the major part of it is because just the cost of food. And we are also giving out free breakfast still, and that's something we want to continue to try to do for as long as possible. And so we felt like a 25-cent increase to our lunch prices would be a good offset for now at this point in time, which still puts us under a lot of those other school corporations that we kind of, that answered the survey or answered the response to that survey, where many of them are at $3.25, $3.20 for their school lunch. We'll be at $2.70 for elementary and $2.85 for the high school for secondary. So that would be our recommendation for next school year.
Does this kind of put us in a net equal position then for lost dollars, income versus lost dollars?
So the other factor that is not currently added into it is that we are going to be recommending raises as well. So that's going to be an increase in expenses from that standpoint too. So we'll kind of see where this falls. It's not to say that in a year we may have to increase it again, but maybe at that time it's only 5 or 10 cents versus another big jump. But we feel like this will put us in a good point for give it a little time to see how it shakes out.
I just come up with that percentage, it's just, you ran the numbers and that's
Yeah.
where you.
Yep.
I'll move that we approve the school lunch price increase for next year.
No, second time.
We got a motion and a second to approve the school lunch prices for 25-26. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Recommendation to approve classified administration raises for 25-26.
Yeah, so we took a look at it this year. We kind of waited a little bit longer than we have in the past. A lot of that was attributed to what was going to happen with legislation before we wanted to come up with some final numbers here. But we feel blessed to be able to recommend raises for all of our classified staff and our administrators. It's been a couple years since we've done that. And so with our setup, we have 2 levels. We have a beginning level and then a 1+, which is kind of our top of the scale. And so we've been able to increase those over the years, and we'll continue to do that with this recommendation. All in all, it's about $400,000 of new monies that we would be increasing salaries and benefits for these employees going into next school year. It's about a 50-50 split almost between education and operations funds, so you won't see that all coming out of one pot of money. So yeah, we feel good, and we feel like this continues to put us at a better position in filling those roles.
So most of them are very competitive with price.
Any other questions on that? We get a motion.
So
I'll second them.
Got a motion and a second to approve the classified administration races for 25-26. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We got the first reading and review of the elementary handbook, 25 points. Wait, no, I skipped bridge. Yeah.
Yep, and I'm gonna do all these this time. Sometimes in the past, we've had, like Mrs. Boone, she's coaching tonight, and other people are doing events in different places, so I said I would do this. On the bridge, it's very minimal. On page 4, 9, 10, 11, and 15, it was all just highlighted of information in yellow, and so there's really no substantial changes to it. So there's really there's not too much to say about that one. So if it's okay, I'll go ahead and, this is just the first reading, so I'll move on to the next one. And that will be the elementary. And so we can look at each one of these individually, but this is like a title page or a page that shows all the updates. Of course, these are pretty standard at the first page as far as the title pages. The gaggle and speak up for safety tip line, just updated information on the student tip line, include information about gaggle. And then also added school security drills, the immunization. We were going to talk about that in the handbook for the secondary. But my recommendation will be, after I review these again today, that we would do the same language in both of those. The elementary one here on page 5, it's a lot less than what the high school was, but I think we'll just put them together if you guys agree to that, what I showed you earlier. The drills that are listed there, emergency closing and delays, updated information about calling system, the Google products and services, the elementary device matrix, updated years to reflect appropriate fees, and the video recording on school buses. Eliminated this content because we went to video surveillance, included the school board policy. I went ahead and had them put that on here because you won't vote on it until the next meeting on June 10th. But you are going to also do the second reading of that tonight. So if we make any changes, we can make changes to this. Part of it was we had, we talked to legal counsel about some different things, found out that we needed to make sure that we let people know that we do have video cameras that are on and they could be videotaped if they come into our buildings. And so that's in that policy also. So that's why the elementary. We'll go a little more specific on some of the questions that were asked when you went through the high school. I'll go over this first and then we'll talk about the ones individually. So for the junior, senior high school, all the things that need to be updated. Also added the board policy, public complaints, appeal procedures, page 4. I think that's good, just so we have a policy that's actually listed. All the policies are listed in the website or on the website. And then we thought this would be good to put this on here too, to make sure people know the chain of command. We also have the civility clause, so we added both of those there. Removed the option for the junior academic awards, updated newspaper names, because you know now we have different names of our newspapers, the assessment information, that added the Google opt-out, about the video cameras, board policy, updated current IC code numbers. Both the assistant principals and myself, earlier in the school year, we went over a lot of the different Indian codes that were outdated and added the new ones. And then, of course, remove the guidelines for delays, closings, and early dismissals. That is on our website also. So let's talk about some of the questions that were asked about the immunizations. So really, we're going to eliminate everything about the immunizations and just put, unless the school receives a completed immunization objection form that can be obtained from the school. That is on that number 4 or D or whatever that was. And then also, actually not eliminate everything yet, but add this other language. Each student should have immunizations required by law, Indiana Code 20-34-4-2, or complete the immunization objection form. So does that sound good there? The other one, there was a template given to us about some things with WMAP, and that template, all of us were supposed to change that. That's why the other school district was listed on there. It could have been any of the 5 school districts, but we will change all that. And then it's a little confusing about the homeschool policy that we have for Heartland Career Center students. We understood what it was, but if you read it, it is a little confusing. So to change it, we cleaned it up to say the student must enroll in one program, which will earn 3 Heartland Career Center credits per semester. So that cleans it up for everyone else to understand that, because you would not be able to take 3 courses. 3 courses, yeah, it kind of looks like that. I think we knew what it meant, but yet not everybody might understand that. And then the present wording on electronic devices, the new law basically says that, for example, cell phones and other electronic devices are banned in our schools unless it is for educational purposes. And we do give the autonomy to our teachers and our schools if they do use those in school or not in the school. So that clarifies that. Athletic handbook that was mentioned Athletic handbooks are the same, except the differences are the athletic awards. Many years, I don't know when that ever started, but they have different philosophies at the two different high schools, Northwood and Southwood, as far as how you earn your jacket and things like that. So if you're good with those things, I think we can have those changed to put in for the next reading, and be able to approve June 10th. And then I'll change the elementary one too. So any other questions or comments? There's no voting on those tonight.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for catching it. So from now on, someone's gonna be in charge of reading that verbatim every single evening.
Right. As long as somebody else is spraying, I'm just standing there waiting.
Nothing else to
Like maybe, yeah, well,
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I was sitting there waiting for him to come back.
Those are good questions, very good questions. And I was at the games looking at it too, but I was gonna respond, but it's kind of hard, just my phone and the sun in the eyes of watching the team. And we both won, so they kind of were exciting, or very exciting actually. So that's why I waited till this morning to look at it a little more in depth. So, okay, that's all I got.
All right. Now we'll move on to last recommendation, new business, a recommendation to approve extended, oh, boy, this already happened.
Yes, I need to call.
I'd say it's out.
Yeah. Oops, you need to approve it. And if you recall in our cabinet meeting, what happened in this situation, they gave it to us thinking that we had that second meeting, or that first meeting in May. And we didn't have that meeting in May, so that's why, and it was a non-school day, it was something they've done in the past, so.
Out-of-state field trip for Northfield AP Physics, AP Chemistry, and Calculus students to Cedar Point on May 23rd.
They submitted it on April 22nd.
They've made it back and everybody's saying.
That's an easy one to vote on.
Can I get a motion and a second for that? Approve that?
Accept.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second to approve that field trip. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None retro. Okay, one unfinished business, second reading and a vote of transportation outside school district SOP for 25-26.
Yeah, we put SOP, that's standard operating procedure. This will be something that will be internal for us. It's not something that would go out, but it's one thing that we looked at with some different questions that people have asked in the past. It does allow us to look at situations. This does not apply to the students that are currently out of district that are being transported by us. This would only be to new, and there will have to be decisions made at certain points, but it does say at the very end there, exceptions to this standard operating procedure will require approval from the superintendent or designee. You know, if it works out that it's very close and we have enough room, that works, but there are other exceptions like how far do we go and do we have enough bus drivers to do all that? And so I know there might be some questions here or comments, so I'll open that up. Do anybody have questions?
Well, as everyone's aware, my position is we've tried to be forward thinking that the environment we're in now, free market, open schools, that we do what we can to attract students. And I didn't want anything written that would limit that from happening, or at least us making a solid, strong effort to do that. So I'm a little confused about how this is a SOP versus like a policy or a hard rule. That was my concern, because reading through it several times, it just came across as being hard, just like we're not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, like don't even bother us. Because like the section 2.2 there says transportation will not be modified or extended to accommodate students outside the district. Well, why do we have to have that really? Why can't we just, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain my
Yeah.
position. I
So-
didn't give enough thought today to it.
So I think it'd be good, the other thing that we're looking at too is the students residing outside the school district transportation request form. This might help out. So if we can talk about this for a second. So basically, this would be the form. If someone said, hey, we'd love to come, we don't live in your district, but is there a way that we could transport? So we'd ask them to fill this out. So the transportation request, I understand that transportation will only be provided if an existing bus route passes directly by the listed residents or can reasonably be accommodated. So that's a little bit better, a little softer than maybe the SOP. You agree or no? Oh, maybe not. Let's go on.
I look at that and I think, well, why am I even bothering? There's no chance I'm gonna get approval here. That's the way it reads to me, but,
I'm a positive thinker, so I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. Bus capacity will also be considered as a factor for approval or denial. In other words, if a bus is full and they're on the outskirts of our school district, then, I mean, we can only do what we can do on that part of it. But I understand that the transportation officer will review my request, notify me approval or denial within 5 business days. I understand the bus safety rules, violation, blah, blah, blah. I understand the request must be completed anyway. And so this is the form that we came up with. If he wants to make changes, obviously to the SOP or this, we can do it. This is the second time we've gone up. I do not believe it was suggested that we have a form, so last time we did not talk about a form. So then we created this form. Dr. Kuhn, Melissa Ball, and myself all worked on it. There was a draft and we made several changes to it to get to this point, so.
when would somebody, you think, fill out this form? Would it be right before, it would be during, registration, more than likely? So at what point in time do you know if there might be 2 or 3 students that would happen to be just a mile or 2 off of the, pardon my rule of the route, that they could be grouped and brought in? I just.
So you're saying that people or someone that's going to enroll will not actually read this or see this?
No, that's just an internal document.
That's our
for us.
internal document, so they're not gonna, because I get Kevin's take on that, is, it says it won't be modified, right there, so if they read that one sentence, they would say, well, then.
When I
we've got a
suggest,
chance, but
when I
if they
suggested
can't
an
read that-
application last time, it was that they would be, the parent or whoever guardian would be filling it out.
Yeah, that's what this is.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what this is.
so they would fill that out.
They would fill this
So
out.
they would see it, and they would see the boxes below it.
Yes, this is the whole form that they would see.
So
It's
did
just a
they
one
fill
pager.
this, did they fill this out before they actually apply or register? I mean, because obviously someone's gonna probably determine, well,
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm gonna get a bus
Just to
ride
give,
to school.
just to give you examples, someone called the other day, they live in Manchester.
Okay.
And they wanted to know about the transportation and what we do about that. Well, I mean, that's a little bit different, because that's we're talking picking up at 6 a.m. or 6:15 to be able to do something like that, with the number of routes or the number of bus drivers that we have. And so if they call, we can say, hey, we have this form, or if they live, 30 miles away, we're gonna say probably no right away, but.
Get another 50 kids in the bed.
And a bus driver. Bus drivers are key right here too. We gotta have the bus drivers, so.
Does one of our neighboring school districts send a bus to Manchester? And that prompted this person's inquiry into MSD's
Could be.
transportation?
The Wabash road.
Do they?
Maybe they could just drop them off.
We're talking about sharing transportation.
Well, that's what's in the law as far
Yeah,
as
that's what I'm saying.
the pilot
shared
programs.
transportation.
The pilot programs.
Just bus Uber. There you go.
When a school district has like 4.5 square miles and they can go out a little bit easier than if you have 300 square miles and what you're doing. My estimation, maybe not easier. I'm just guessing.
No, I'm sympathetic to our busing situation, but don't misread me. I just don't like stuff in print that would turn somebody from a request or just asking or anything, because the attitude should be more of a can do rather than cannot. And this comes across as a cannot.
Will not be modified.
Actually, it looks better than what we've had before because we've never had something like this, so.
Right.
So it actually allows us to be able to look at it and see for sure, so.
Now, you have to have a stopping point at some point. I understand you can't go to Manchester and start picking a bunch of people up. But the couple that, and I was pleased to hear that, something's been agreed in there. That's the kind of cooperative spirit I'd like to see happen.
Anything else on that?
So we have another reading next time?
No, we read it last time.
Okay.
Unless you want another reading.
This would be a vote, but
Unless
if we
you
wanted
wanted
to,
to-
unless you want to
You wanna
push
see
it, unless
it,
you want
that's
to
what I'm
table
saying,
it.
yeah.
Make any changes to this, we can make changes and vote next time. We still have time. You can wait till July, too.
You want to table it and think about
Is
it?
that what you're gonna do, Kevin?
Well, I'm going to vote no tonight, but don't let my vote influence your
Oh, we
thinking.
can table it and see if
Yeah.
there's some
Let's
verbiage or
table it.
language you could prefer somewhat.
Yeah, like,
Stable.
you want me to write my own?
You're assigned.
He's already talked me into doing a video, so
Well, you said yes, I know, I didn't know you said yes.
I was teasing.
Well,
We will table that unfinished business.
You wanna make a motion to table it then?
Make it,
Matt made a motion, and I'll second
Matt did.
Yes.
Got a motion and a second to table the second reading and vote for transportation outside the school district, for 25-26. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Board policy, second reading and vote for the 6110 video cameras. Is that the one in the school? Is that that
Yeah,
policy?
yeah, this is the one, because it also mentions about, letting people know that we do have, where is that at in here? Oh, under the notice part, that was part of our attorney saying that we need to make sure that we put that in there also. That's through Indiana School Boards Association, when we received their recommendation. So this is the clean copy to put everything in. Last time, we gave you the copy that had all the strikeouts, but it just added some different things about the notice, main thing.
You might have any questions on that one? Give a motion in a second.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second to, vote on the board policies, 6110 for the video cameras. All those in favor say aye.
it.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Public comment? Any items from board members? No? All right, we'll adjourn. Thank you.